What are gunas and what are the three gunas available in nature? Paramatma and the scriptures drastically depart from conventional thought as to how the universe was created. Remember, the perceived universe is only a reflection of the qualities of the inner self. It is to be read as a reflection in order to enable the Atma to evolve, to shed the dependence on the physical self. So since the universe is only an instrument of the forces of consciousness, including the mind, the universe is said to be formed due to the imbalances of the forces in Jivatma and its main instrument, the mind. To apply a bit of modern physics, forces come into existence only due to imbalances. If there was a perfect balance, there would be no forces that would be created or come into play. Guna, by guna we mean that this is a thread or a strand or cord or twine. In more abstract uses, it may mean subdivision, species, kind or quality, or operational principle or tendency. In Samkhya philosophy, there are three major gunas that serve as the fundamental operating principles or tendencies of Prakriti or universal nature, which are called Satva guna, Rajas guna and Tamas guna. These three primary gunas are generally accepted to be associated with creation, preservation and destruction. The entire creation and its process of evolution is carried out by these three major gunas. The three guna appear prominently in the discourse of Krishna to Arjuna upon the battlefield of the Kurukshetra, that is the backdrop of the Bhagavad Gita. All three gunas are held to delude the world. Krishna says that the world is deluded by the three gunas, but it does not know me, who is beyond these gunas and is imperishable. If you watch till the end, you would come to know as to how the Aatman is not affected by these gunas. Also, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. The power behind perception is the Atma. Atma, when completely balanced, is the moksham state. But when one or more of these three gunas, Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic, begins to dominate, then the Atma becomes attached to the physical world through the sense organs and more importantly through the mind. What causes the perception to be born in the state of imbalance? What is this imbalance that causes the Atma to perceive the universe? In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Paramatma explains the human perception was caused by an imbalance between the three gunas. When the three gunas are balanced, there will be no perception of the universe. The three gunas of the mind are Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Brahman, because of Maya and the power of Maya, appeared to have two forms, the seer and the seen, the drishta and the drishtam. The seer is named as Purusha and the seen is named as Prakriti. The Prakriti is made up of the cause and effect. The Purusha is the pure knowledge or Jnana. Prakriti began to function and out of it were manifested the three gunas, Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. Out of these three gunas was born the subtle power which causes Kriya or action. Krishna explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam that I will explain you by going back to the beginnings of creation to make it simple for you. When Ishvara created Maya, the world was manifested. The five elements called Mahabhutas, the Indriyas and the Tanmantras, and later the many lokas were manifested. Ishwar pervades the entire universe, but because of Maya, the avidya or the ignorance envelops the mind of a man. This university of the Ishvara is hidden and concealed. The man gets involved in illusion. As I am the doer, I am enjoying the fruits of the action and such like. This again leads to further details about actions. You shall do this and this act is forbidden, etc. It is then said that certain acts should be performed for enhancing sattvic nature in man. When the sattvic nature gains ascendancy, the mind becomes clearer. Once the mind is clear, it is up to the man to rid himself of the bondage called action. So it is safe to conclude that Sattva is a state of a mind in which the man rids himself of the delusion of the I as being responsible for his ability to perceive all his actions. It is an advanced state of the mind in which the man rids himself of all his delusions. On Rajasic Guna, the following explanation has been provided. The Karmendriyas, the organs of action, and the Jnanendriyas, the organs of perception, are born of Rajasic Tattva. Rajas stands for all active emotions like anger, passion, not easily controlled. So the Rajasic Guna is the perpetrator of action and emotion in the mind. On the Tamasic Guna, out of the Tamasic Aham Tattva are born the Mahabhutas, the elements, and the Tanmantras. At the physical level, creation is the same as birth, preservation is same as life, and destruction is the same as death. If the three gunas were in the state of balance, there would be no separation between creation, preservation, and destruction. In other words, there would be no perception of the physical universe. In simpler terms, the mind is the instrument of perception. The mind is created by the imbalance of the three gunas. The three gunas are in a constant state of struggle to attain supremacy. This imbalance is reflected in the constantly swirling human mind. The swirling is the karma that we experience for the time of our human life. Unable to bear the imbalance, the mind consciously seeks middle ground in which it does not feel the impact of the pulls and pushes of the opposites. The mind cannot lose the pull of the temptations, strays from the middle ground, and faces the consequent backlashes. In turning to the various alternatives for peace, tranquility, and freedom, which is the true nature of the Atma, it comes across the teachings of the Paramatma, which is self-realization through devotion. The mind learns that it does not have to turn anywhere else except to itself and find the answer and quell the turmoil within. One by one, it sheds the illusion and attachments that it was subject to. It then attains unification with the Atma and is freed forever from the repeated cycle of births and deaths. Everything that we perceive in this world is constantly changing. Imbalances characterize the physical world. If there were no imbalances, there would be no perception. In a completely steady state with no changes, the mind would not get ability to perceive. The instruments of perception deployed in the mind are the five senses. The five senses are activated only by changes and imbalances. It should be emphasized that the perception of the separation of the gunas arise only in the mind. As such, the Puranas do not attach any significance to physical creation, sustenance, or destruction. This is why our rishis focused on stilling the mind to attain the state of moksha. So moksha means to attain a state of mind without any imbalances of the three gunas. The perceived universe, being in a state of imbalance, is constantly in a state of motion to attempt to resolve the imbalance. This change in physical objects resulting from these imbalances, either through movement or through physical, chemical, biological transformation, is called by modern science as energy and by Puranas as karma. Modern science is focused on channelizing the imbalances so the energy can be used in a manner that is useful to man. The Puranas are focused only on removing these imbalances by developing self-control of the mind. The only power that has been left in our control is that of our own thought. If the attitude is taken that everything else is secondary, then this perceived world will no longer trouble us. On the contrary, life will become very pleasant experience. More importantly, life will align itself and allow you to make even more progress on the intellectual front. The God consciousness assertion in the Puranas is that when the mind reaches this balanced state of existence, there will be no longer any physical constraints of space, time, and conflict. Without restrictions and conflicts, the mind will reach a state of pure and unbounded enlightenment, very much akin to merging with God consciousness. It is the mind of a man which causes him to either fall into the morass called samsara or to find freedom from it. It is the mind which should be subdued. When the mind is tainted with the three gunas, Sattvam, Rajas, and Tamas, its path is set in the world of objects. It will have to keep on performing actions, good or bad, and the cycle of births and deaths will be endless. It will acquire desires, and according to the desires, its progress will be towards the higher or towards the lower, as the case may be. Pleasure and pain will affect the life of man, and there will be no end to it. So long as the mind of a man is attached to things of the world, it can never glow on its own accord. The three qualities, the Satva, Rajas and Tamas, are parts of nature, and they have nothing to do with the Aatman. One who has reached the Aatman, who has reached the Brahman state, will never be affected by the opposites. In the beginning, there was nothing else. Brahman, the soul of all the souls, the lord of nature, the cause and the effect, blended into one. He was the seer, and in the beginning, there was nothing to be seen. The Brahman was self-luminous. Prakriti was with him. The power to manifest himself was in him. In the beginning, the three Gunas, Satva, Rajas and Tamas, were perfectly balanced. They were in equilibrium. Another powerful aspect of the Brahman is time. Now, because of the passage of time, the balance of the Gunas are upset, disturbed. There was a throb of unrest, that is disturbance, and this disturbance had in it the germs of creation. The power because of which the Purusha creates the universe is called Prakriti. The active aspect of the Brahman, which is the consciousness, awareness. The power because of which the Purusha creates the universe is called Prakriti or nature. The active aspect of the Brahman, which is all consciousness, awareness. The consciousness manifested itself in the form of the universe, ruled by the three Gunas, and they are sway. The original soul, the universal spirit, altered its appearance, meaning it became the cause as well as the effect, the seer as well as the seen, the doer as well as the deed. What are chakras and whether they really exist or it's just some hocus pocus? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. So what are chakras? By the word chakra, we mean a wheel, and you can visualize them like water wheels. When they are functioning properly, they allow energy to flow throughout the body and energize us. Water that is stagnant goes putrid. This is the same in the light body as well. Lack of energy flow can cause diseases and then illnesses that would have to be addressed later on. We want the chakras to flow, allowing the waterfall of energy to move throughout our whole energy body and revitalize it. This will stimulate the body to evolve and heal at an accelerated pace. It is important to always work the chakras from the root upward. Just like a tree, we need strong roots if we want our branches to grow tall. This list provides a generalized explanation of each chakra. Everyone is little different, so follow it based on your intuition. 7 major chakras. The root chakra. The root chakra is exactly like the roots of a tree. When it is strong, we feel safe and secure and well adapted to life on earth. It gives a sense of being grounded and down to earth when it is balanced. Like the crown chakra, we pull in light through the root chakra and feel a deep communion with the planet we live on. The root chakra is related to our sense of security, the color red, and the earth element. The root chakra works includes connecting of ancestors and past lives, clearing family karma, healing security and insecurity, connecting to home, grounding, attachments, anxieties, or feeling lost, confused, and disoriented. The nature is the strongest healer of the root chakra. Lay on the earth, take a salt water bath, walk barefoot, be in the moment. Be still. Remember that you are on this planet and she sustains us here. Build a relationship with Mother Earth. How would you visualize the root chakra? If you meditate in the same place every day, it strengthens the root chakra. Healthy root maintain tail branches. This expands consciousness. Visualize roots growing from the bottom of your feet and wrapping around the crystalline core of the earth. The second chakra or the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is the second chakra. It's related to the color orange, the water element, emotions, masculine and feminine duality, detox, elimination, kidney, and sexual organs. The sacral chakra also rules the emotional body and lower emotions like sadness, anger, and sexual desires. There is a strong connection connection between the sacral and the throat chakra, since they both are creation centers in the body. Often when one is out of alignment, it will affect the other one. The sacral chakra work includes healing emotional and relationship trauma, balancing the yin and yang channels of the body, and finding balance. Drinking water, tea and juice, especially orange juice, are the best healing for the sacral chakra. Visualization and meditation. And how would you visualize this chakra is to visualize a yin and yang in the sacral chakra flowing in harmonious circle. This will help harmonize the masculine and feminine challenge in the body. You can also use alternate nostril breathing exercise to further unify these channels. The third chakra is the solar plexus chakra. This third chakra in the body is the body's energy battery. This is our connection to the sun. When the chakra is in alignment, we have the energy and willpower to work towards our goals and ambitions. We also have the self-esteem and confidence in our chosen path. It is related to the fire element, the color yellow, the stomach and personal will. Ginger is amazing for this chakra to help stimulate the digestive fires. Many find that they are naturally guided to fast or eat lighter when this chakra is going through ascension. Learn to trust your body's natural cravings and feed it what it needs to help keep this chakra in balance. How to meditate upon solar plexus chakra. Feel the sun and visualize it in your core. Breathe in the golden light and feel it stored in your solar plexus when you need it. The power of the sun always lives within you. The fourth chakra, or the heart chakra, and the largest of them all, is the central chakra of the body. It is associated with the color green and the air element. It rules the heart and lungs as well as the higher emotions of love, compassion and empathy. A balanced heart chakra is open to loving others without fear and restriction. It can easily empathize with others without being overwhelmed by other emotions and energy. Many empaths struggle with their overactive heart chakra compensating for an underactive solar plexus. This causes them to feel the energies of others stronger than their own and is very overwhelming. During ascension, the heart opens up in a greater way. The petals of the heart open up like a lotus flower. Some petals are beautiful, some painful, some haggard and worn. Embrace them all and breathe. Release grudges, resentment, regret, remorse, past trauma and judgment to help it open. Chest pain and breathing constriction are common during ascension. It accelerates this opening and we process years of pain in a short time. Be patient, love and encourage yourself. Most importantly, forgive yourself and others to release energy that gets stuck in the heart chakra. During ascension, we learn to tune our hearts and trust ourselves. The goal is to have a clear, open heart that is always feeling. Emotional healing is necessary because all inner knowing comes in through the pure heart. Discard any teaching that pulls you out of your heart center. No matter who says it, follow your heart. How to visualize this in meditation? Deep breathing into the heart center and hold your breath on the inhale. Visualize emerald fire burning in your chest and regenerating and renewing all the tissues and energies. Release on exhale. The fifth chakra or the throat chakra are associated with the blue sky and the ether element. It rules our senses of authenticity and personal truth. When it is healthy, we are able to speak our truth and embody it without fear and judgment. Core wounds of feeling separate from source and our fellow humans are often stored in the throat chakra, feeling disconnected and unheard. When this chakra is functioning in harmony, we have no problems stepping into the spotlight and being seen as our true self. Peppermint essential oil and tea are powerful for this chakra to lighten and enliven the energy. How do we visualize this chakra? The lion's breath is an amazing technique for this chakra. Any breath work will help open up the chakra more. We can also visualize a blue sky with all the clouds dissipating in the brilliant and beautiful sunlight. Third eye chakra. The third eye chakra is the sixth chakra. It is indigo in color and rules our six senses, psychic channels and higher awarenesses. It rules the dream state and the imagination. When this chakra is open, we can easily moderate between the different dimensions and have an expanded awareness of reality. Many teachings focus on third eye, but this is actually quite damaging if the root chakra is not strong. Always focus on healing the chakras from bottom up, since they feed into each other from the root. This chakra opens naturally when the lower 5 chakras are in alignment. Many experience calcification of the pineal gland, which can affect the natural opening of this chakra. This can be easily remedied with regular turmeric intake. Use your best judgment on what is right for you. How do we visualize this chakra? Any visualization can help the third eye chakra to open it even more, as well as anything that engages the imagination, such as reading and writing. The 7th chakra, or the crown chakra, is the final personal chakra of the body. It is ruled by the color violet and also white. When this chakra is healthy, we easily connect with and trust in source. We have higher perspective on life and are able to see the big picture in balance with our day-to-day routines. This chakra greatly deals with forgiveness and surrender. A healthy crown is able to understand and hold space for others without selfish intents or judgment. It also allows us to hear and connect with our higher self. Frankincense is an amazing high-frequency oil incense that assists with the crown chakra opening. Many high-frequency people who struggle with grounding will find great healing from this. How do we visualize this in meditation? Visualize a waterfall of light opening above and allow it to pour into your body through a lotus flower on your crown. This will help you to take in light from the higher realms and be open to receive them as well. So, is there any evidence that these chakras exist, or is it all just mumbo jumbo? One man who has helped to pioneer scientific research into yoga and the phenomena of Kundalini and chakras is Dr. Hiroshi Motoyama. In his search for the existence of chakras, Motoyama has developed machinery. One of these is the chakra instrument, which is designed to detect the electromagnetic field of the body and any changes which take place in it due to chakra stimulation and activation. Machine is designed to detect energy generation in the body and then emit it from it in terms of various physical variables such as electrical, magnetic and optical energy changes. Copper electrodes are positioned at the top and bottom of the cage, and a sliding square panel of electrodes on all 4 sides, left, right, front and back, is free to traverse up and down the frame structure so as to be positioned at any part of the subject's body. An electromagnetic field is set up between the electrodes, and any vital energy ejected from the body affects this very sensitive field. Other equipment is also used to monitor respiration, autonomic nervous system, changes in blood flow, heart, subtle variations in the skin, so as to measure other effects of chakra stimulation in the body and to make comparisons and interpretations. Motoyama also used his equipment extensively to determine diseases in the body. In one case, he measured a woman who has to have a uterine tumor removed a week later. Measurements of his AMI machine showed imbalance in the related meridians. The pattern of energy measured by the chakra instrument in front of the uterus or the sacral chakra was much greater and quite different than normal. Motoyama's research indicates that there is a definite correspondence between physical disease and disturbance in the energy of the chakra, traditionally said by yogis to control that part of the physical body. Motoyama has also measured chakra activity in normal subjects and recorded and compared recordings in subjects practicing yoga versus untrained control subjects. He found that in untrained subject concentrating on third eye chakra, there was no change recorded by the electrodes. The lines in the recording paper remained flat before, during and after concentration. A subject who had been practicing stimulation of sacral chakra for some time showed great deal of activation of their center, and much greater than in the control subject who showed none at all. Larger amplitude waves were seen before, during and after concentration, indicating activation. However, there was no change during during the period of concentration, indicating lack of control over the center. This compares with another subject who had been practicing yoga for 5 years, who evidenced a marked rise in electrical activity from third eye chakra, but only during the time of concentration. The results indicate that he had developed control over his third eye chakra. The second case involves a subject who concentrated on heart chakra. As the subject relaxed, the chakra area was seen to be activated. She was then asked to concentrate on the heart area and was arranged that at any time she had the subjective experience of psi energy emission, she was to press a button which caused the mark to be made on the chart. It was found that when this mark appeared, the photoelectric cell signaled a presence of weak light being generated in the light-proof room. Her chakra monitor also detected electrical energy of high potential and frequency. Motoyama states that these findings imply psychic energy working in heart chakra may also be able to create energy in the physical dimension, light, electricity, etc. It appears that whatever energy is being produced in a developed and refined chakra circuit is capable of extinguishing or creating energy in the physical dimension, which supports the yogic view of chakras as transducers, converting psychic energy into physical energy and back. Motoyama feels that if further research substantiates his findings, then the law of conservation of energy as one of the basic foundation stones of modern physics will have to be revised. The verification of an energy at the psychic plane, which though of an unknown source and substance can influence matter, has long been claimed by yogis. It is also thought to be the basis of healing and of all sciences in which mind is used to control matter. Yogis even state that the world is manifested of mind, and a view which is now being supported more and more by physicists, especially those working with subatomic particles that make up all of matter and which lie midway between matter and pure energy. Motoyama states, "I feel that the continuation of research into nature of psi energies by many others as well as myself will lead to considerable change in our views of matter, of mind and body, of human beings and of world itself." The work of Motoyama points to the fact that within the physical body there are locations which, though they may not have any obvious physical or structural demarcation, have definite functional characteristics which differentiate from other parts of the body. It verifies the fact that yogi descriptions of these points corresponding to physical emanations in the case of Motoyama's research. As you see, some of the scientific studies done by Motoyama would actually suggest we have energy centers. What do you think about this? How would the scientific measurements have taken place if there were no existence of chakras? Please do let me know in the comment section below. Today, we are going to find about the koshas of the body and why Vignanmaya Kosha may be very important for our spiritual development. Understanding the 5 koshas of the human body. The koshas are the metaphorical layers that comprise the human body and mind and house the soul. The meaning comes from the Upanishads, the ancient Vedic text that informed Hinduism and many aspects of yoga philosophy. Kosha translates to sheath in Sanskrit. According to ancient Vedantic philosophy, the 5 sheaths provide a framework for understanding the innermost self or Aatman, which is Sanskrit for the spirit or soul. What are koshas? The yoga philosophy describes the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body as 3 bodies that encompass the 5 koshas. Yogic theory posits that the human body and the life force energy, breath or prana, is part of the physical body, while the mind and intellect are included in the subtle body. The causal body is considered as the innermost self or soul, which cycles through birth, death, rebirth, and ultimately transcendence according to the teachings. The first body is called the Annamaya Kosha. The Annamaya Kosha is the outermost sheath comprised of the physical body layer, which includes muscles, bones, skin, and organs. Anna is Sanskrit for food, which sustains the human body and keeps it functioning optimally. The Annamaya Kosha is often referred to as the physical body since it is only kosha that is physically tangible. Pranamaya Kosha. The next sheath is the Pranamaya Kosha, also known as the energy body or the life force sheath. In Sanskrit, prana means life force, so Pranamaya refers to the life force energy within the Annamaya physical body. Pranamaya is therefore associated with the breath and the flow of energy through the physical body. The next layer is the Manomaya Kosha. The next sheath of the mind is the mental sheath. It has to do with thoughts and emotions and can be maintained and brought into balance through meditation. The mind sheath governs our thoughts, emotions, and fantasies and is responsible for how we perceive the world around us. These are considered the superficial layers of the Manomaya Kosha. Our mind gives rise to the Manomaya Kosha. The Vignanmaya Kosha. The Vignanmaya Kosha is the knowledge sheath. The kosha is comprised of your wisdom, intuition, the highest perception. When you are meditating and observing your inner world, the knowledge sheath is what lies beyond your thinking mind. It stems from a deeper and more subtle layer of self. This innate inner knowing is the higher state of consciousness. When wisdom is accessed, deeper insight can be revealed. Some teachers believe that any activity requiring total immersion, such as playing an instrument, writing, or painting, is accessing the Vignanamaya Kosha. The next sheath is the Anandamaya Kosha. The Anandamaya Kosha is the most innermost sheath known to us as the bliss body. In Sanskrit, Ananda means happiness and bliss and represents the transcendental energy of creation and existence. Therefore, Anandamaya Kosha is synonymous to joy, love, and peace. It is total immersion with creation itself and is the deepest aspect of the true innermost self. Just as the five elements earth, water, fire, air, and ether appear in corresponding subtlety among each of the five senses, so too the intellect cognizes ever subtler causes and effects at play through each of the five sheaths. For example, the Annamaya Kosha is the coarsest sheath is based on the earth element, which is guarded by Ganesha, while the subtlest sheath, the Anandmaya Kosha, is based on the quanta ether element and is guarded by the black disk of utter darkness over the sun, which can be removed only by Ganesha. Awareness of the reflection of Aatman self within the most subtle sheet, the Anandmaya Kosha, however, is but the foundation of discerning that which the elements, energy, senses, and the kosha serve.
So, why is the Vignanmaya Kosha so important?
The Vignanmaya Kosha, or the fourth sheath, is the second last sheath, so it means that it's closer to our soul or Atma. Since the Vignanmaya Kosha is closer to the Atma, the light from the Atma falls onto intelligence just like how the sun illuminates the moon. Due to this, human being always thinks that his intelligence itself is his Atma. And if you live in this confusion, there is a definite chance that your life might be only unsuccessful. Buddhi has only prepared things to work on. Once Buddhi feels that it is the one and only, there the ego rises, and it rises to a next level, in the sense that every man has an ego, but this ego becomes fierce due to the concept of me and only me. Once life carries on under the principle of me and only me, under ego's guidance, then it's a failure for the soul from the spiritual standpoint. This is because you may not know what could happen next, and due to your high ego, the Atma may plan you to be executed in a fashion. For example, a car comes and hits you, and you may die on the spot. It's a hit to the ego when such things happen. So you see, it was never the buddhi, but it was always the Atma that was running the show. It has the power to stop things that are supposed to happen or may swing things in a direction the ego may not want it to happen. The reins were always in the hands of the Atma. The Atma is God, and those who rely on it will not get hit by the ego, and they will be calm and collected even if a real episode had to happen where your ego was supposed to get hit. The Vignanmaya Kosha is what gives rise to this buddhi, and if you feel that this is the Atma, then you probably are disillusioned and you haven't understood spirituality at all. Since Vignanmaya Kosha is the closest to the Atma at the fourth sheet, it means that it gets most illumination from the Atma compared to the mind, which is the next layer of the onion peel in the certain bodies. So, the outcome is that if you use buddhi to elevate your own ego, then you progress into being an animal instead of going towards your Atma or soul. If you progress inwards, it would give rise to saints, and only saints know that the subtle nature of God, what it's like. They become humble, and human beings don't become humble as they have their ego, which is as strong as a rock. The people who are rationalists, they have a problem with devotion, as the feelings of surrender would be very difficult for such people. Hence, saints don't fear any kind of adversity. For example, Sai Baba wasn't scared of a gang of dacoits that approached him. People who depend on their intelligence get fear easily. It's due to their absolute reliance on intelligence and mind. This is because buddhi can only know the present, but it always wishes and desires the future. But the Atma, on the other hand, knows it all. It's able to cross the three bounds of time and is self existing and self manifesting, non human like quality which is generated by nature, and knowledge flows through such a self existing entity, and knowledge is generated and flows through such an entity. For the common man, on the other hand, it becomes very tough to understand spirituality because he thinks he can get to know spirituality through his intelligence and rationality, and the intelligence that he thinks is the greatest won't ever get to know what the soul or the Atma is like. And the only way to get to know the Atma is through humility and surrender, imagining the greatest vastness of Almighty and bowing down and realizing how minute we are compared to the one that runs the universe. As getting to know the Atma for Buddhi is a difficult task as it is, not attempting to know our real self would land us into a deeper well of confusion, doubt, disbelief, and you would be bonded to being eccentric rather than being fearless in society. Since the person is looking at just his mind-body complex, then fear develops due to the worries about future, and the person will not be able to identify what lies beyond those senses and what is exactly transcendenting them. Just as the sun's rays hit the water, and as the water moves, the image of the sun gets distorted. In a similar way, when the ego rises, it also distorts the Atma's qualities. Since saints always are one with their souls, they don't have incessant thoughts, but they are peaceful and silent in their behavior. The fundamental self-negligence or pramada that gives rise to the appearance of four sheets. What is that exactly? The self-intelligence is called Anandmaya Kosha, the sheath composed of happiness, because it is said to be the only sheath that remains in sleep. So, it is identified with the peaceful happiness we experience then. It is also called the Karan Sharira or the causal body because it is what causes the appearance of other sheets in the entire world, which does not exist independent of those sheets. Though it is sometimes said that the Annamaya Kosha, which is what is called the Sthula Sharira or the gross or the physical body, exists only in waking state and not in the dream state. According Shri Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, there is no substantive difference between waking and dream. So just as the present body seems to be physical in state, in dream the body we then experience as ourselves seem to be physical. So in both waking and dream, what we are actually are seems to be concealed or obscured by all the five sheets or coverings. Though it is generally said that in sleep we are actually in pure awareness, it is concealed only by the Anandmaya Kosha, according to Sri Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi. This seems to be the case only from the perspective of our ego in waking and dream, because what is called Anandmaya Kosha or Karan Sharira is only our self negligence or darkness or self ignorance, and what is self negligent or self ignorant is only this ego. So, from the perspective as this ego, it seems that we were self ignorant even in sleep. However, what did not know our actual self in sleep was only our ego. But the reason it did not know our actual self in sleep was that it did not exist then. So, since what we experienced in sleep is therefore a kosha or covering only in the view of our ego in the waking or dream, all five sheets appear actually together in these two states and disappear together in sleep. Therefore, whatever person or body we seem to be is packaged consisting of these five sheets or coverings, which appear as soon as our ego rises and disappear as soon as it subsides. Among these five sheets, the only one that remains unchanged so long as our ego survives is the Anandmaya Kosha, which is the darkness or the pramada or self negligence. And until it is destroyed by keen self attentiveness, it will always give rise to the appearance of the other four sheets, which are constantly undergoing change. Therefore, whatever person we seem to be in this or in other dream is a very fleeting or insubstantial thing, which seems to be given substance only by our ego, whose nature is to be self negligent. Therefore, if we truly want to be free from this ego and all its progeny, we can easily dissolve it among with all its sheets or coverings simply by being keenly self attentive. However, so long as we are reluctant to surrender this ego entirely, being constantly and keenly self attentive may seem difficult. But by persistent practice, our willingness to surrender oneself will increase until eventually we will let go everything and dissolve back to our source, which is just the pure adjunct free self awareness that we always actually were. In those clear view, no ego or any covering ever existed or ever seemed to exist. What do you think about the koshas? Have you experienced your Anandmaya Kosha anytime? Please do let me know in the comment section below. In this video, we will talk more about the body or the Annakosha, and how we can cross these 5 koshas to experience the reflection of the self. As described in the last video, the koshas are metaphorical layers that comprise the human body, the mind, and house the soul. The 5 sheets provide a framework for understanding the innermost self or the Aatman, which is Sanskrit for the spirit or soul. As described in the last video, there are 5 koshas. The Annamaya Kosha is the outermost sheath comprised of the physical body. Next comes the Pranamaya Kosha. The Pranamaya Kosha is associated with breath and flow of energy through the physical body. Then comes the Manomaya Kosha. This is the mind or the mental sheath and has to do with thoughts and emotions. The Vignanmaya Kosha is the knowledge sheath, and as I explained in my last video, it has a greater impact on spirituality as the light from the Atma directly falls on it due to it being the layer that is closer to the Atma than the other 3 prior sheets. Then comes the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the innermost sheet known as the bliss body. It is available in deep sleep, so the sleep is restful. The existence of the Annamaya Kosha is not separate from the other sheets. For example, the wind element, which is not visible to the naked eye, is always at play with the Annakosha. As we are breathing in a rhythmic fashion, the Manokosh is also at play in a different way by giving rise to infinite interweave of thoughts, which may sometimes be deceiving. So, the body-mind complex experiences this at every instant. And Manokosh also triggers the Vignanmaya Kosha due to the thoughts triggering our intelligence for us to respond to the stimulus from the mind. The Buddhi analyzes the stimulus and decides to respond to it in a fashion like, I need to do these things and such thing should happen in so and so way. And in this response, at times has resounding implications to the body mind, sometimes for the good and sometimes for the bad. And as I explained in the last video, we could get hit on our ego, and in some extreme cases the Atma decides to execute the body mind without prejudice. The Annakosha is the body, and we can see it's the preliminary kosh that you need to cross in order to get to the Anand Kosh and experience extreme bliss. The main test of a student of spirituality is that he needs to cross bounds of all 5 koshas in order to be enlightened. So in order to get there, the minimum qualifications would be to get beyond the body-mind complex. Since the Annakosha is the body, it cannot be identified and exists separately as described above. As the body needs also food for its nourishment, it takes it from the environment, and then there are various processes such as eating, digesting and excreting the food after it's consumed by the body. And this process begins almost immediately once the body is born. It starts to feel hungry. As the life progresses, the Annakosha also grows with time. And as you see, the body also grows. It works as a fine machine, and at times it also disintegrates or deteriorates and gets diseases. So if you think about it, the Annakosha, since it's seen and felt and experienced, it may feel like it's easier to cross. So the main reason we need to have a meditative practice is by closing our eyes and looking inwards so that we can cross our Annakosha. Just by a simple act of closing our eyes, you can get away from the world of Maya surrounding you, the world that is constantly changing and thus is spiritually unreal. But on the other hand, think about how real this Maya could be. When we accidentally cut ourselves with a knife, think about how the Annakosha directly pings off information to the Manakosha. So you see, Maya, since it's ever changing, is apart from the Atma or soul and is constantly changing with time. It may come as a surprise to you that no human being is able to cross the 5 koshas, and that capacity is not available to the human being. But under the guidance of a real qualified master or a yogi, the rays of the master could assist you in crossing the koshas. And at times, based on your progress, in addition, you could be anointed as a yogi yourself. Considering that you are able to unconditionally love and surrender to your master, and you have aced all the tests under his expert guidance. The gurus possess unique capabilities to help beam God consciousness into you, and these are in the form of pure moral virtuous beams of heavenly kind. So the fact is that by the help of the guru's rays, your mind is then able to fix its attention and meditate, which then leads to lighting up the pathway to the self through meditation. Since Guru is the source, and due to the common man wandering mind, which is generally not able to see inner light that is like a bright glowing sun inside of you, which is mainly obscured due to the veil of ignorance that the ego places on it through the Vignanmaya Kosha. This is mainly because the disciple is not prepared and may be not ready or capable, but the Guru could do wonders to this disciple. It mainly happens due to the force field or chitta of the Guru that boils down to the Guru's Guru, which is Atma or God. Just as a spark ignites a fire, a Guru is the source to provide you with the spark for you to see the soul or the Atma. A perfect master is already been certified by God and has the spark or force potential capability to allow you to be able to see your Atma, and that entails the crossing of the koshas. So usually human beings are handicapped to cross the koshas. Although being physically strong, internally they are helpless to find their way in the darkness, as intelligence is powered by the soul and not the other way around, and the mind is also helpless in this matter. So then the question itself begs, is that who would help you to get to your destination then? Just as a ski lift enables you to go up the mountain, in a same way, the Guru helps you to pass the koshas by sending his life force beam similar to the rays of the sun during the midday. It depends on the propensity of the Guru. Some may have rays of the sun like it's just rising, but others may be relaying the high noon sunbeams and are able to take you to the process of knowing the self, and the rays help to create a foundation or an environment that helps with the spiritual ascension of the disciple to cross his koshas. There are two ways to get there: by the constant recitation of the name of God, and then once the mind is fixed to the name, then meditation begins where the mind is also fixed and can be focused to enter into Chidabhasa, or the reflection of Brahmin, the universal self, on the mind. So what are your thoughts on crossing the koshas? Please do let me know in the comment section below. Also, thanks a lot to listen to my video. I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share and like my channel so that it can be picked up by the YouTube algorithms. I'll see you in the next video.